ADHDers are often great at identifying side hustles, multiple of them, and then trying to get going at the same time, with none ever lasting more than a week, 2 weeks, a month, or less. So let's talk about a tool, specifically AI, and how it can help you once you've identified a side hustle, put in place a set of steps, actionable steps that you can actually take to get the side hustle off the ground. This is my third video in my mini series on how to use AI to start your ADHD side hustle. If you haven't already watched the other two videos, go ahead and pause this one and check out the other two videos in this playlist. For those of you just joining us, my name is Shane G. I'm an ADHD money coach that helps people with ADHD change their relationship with money from one that is often marked with stress and anxiety to one of empower and enablement. And one of the key ways we do that is help identify ways for you to earn extra income. Specifically, ADHD brains are great at side hustles, but often stumble at the beginning. So this series helps show you how AI can help overcome some of the facets of ADHD that make it a challenge while further amplifying those that are superpowers. And I truly do believe ADHD is a superpower that you simply must learn how to channel and utilize. And my regular listeners are probably getting sick of hearing me say that. Now, we in this process are assuming you've already picked the side hustle you're going to move forward with. Again, we're picking one, we're focusing on one, we're moving forward with one. As I mentioned in earlier videos, for my example, I'm going to use Airbnb private room hosting. And the reason I'm going to use that one is that is the side hustle that I have been doing for the longest amount of time, over 7 years. I said before, I think I might actually be as close to 9, but just haven't sat down to do the maths on it. And with it being the one I've done the longest, I can say, and I'm a living proof, that it is ADHD friendly. Again, part of this is personality wise. Some people would be like, oh, I never could have someone else in my house. That's perfectly fine. Pick a side gig that works for you when you go through and walk through these videos. This is not about me promoting a specific side gig. It's really about me just giving you an example. And I wanted to pick one that was very real to me, but I also think the Airbnb private room hosting is something that everyone can relate to as they think through the steps and then apply it to their own individual side hustles. That's at least my hope. Give me in the comments any feedback on whether that's working for you or not. And if there's a specific spot you're getting stuck and would love to hear how AI can help, there I go, trying to say AI, and I started saying air because I'm talking about Airbnb, ADHD brain at work. If there's a specific thing that you're running into challenges with getting off the ground, please put that in the comments. And I would love to do a video showing you how AI can help. Or if it's something AI really can't help, we can talk about other techniques, tips, and tricks. I don't want you to think that AI is the only tool in my toolbox, but with all of the hype and discussion around it right now, it is very timely to talk about it and to make sure ADHD people know how and when it can be used to help get their side hustles off the ground and stick with them. So I already know that I want to move forward with the Airbnb private room hosting. So without further ado, let's jump into ChatGPT. Let me split my screen here and we'll take a look on how it can help me identify the next steps. Here we are. We've got ChatGPT on the left, me on the right, and let's dive into how it can help us get a list of the steps I need to do to get going. So we're going to go here. We're going to give it the prompt. The first thing we're going to do is give it the necessary information. I've decided to start being an Airbnb. Always helps when I can type private room host. Help me list out the steps I need to do in order to get this side hustle off the ground. Let's say going. I have ADHD, so please list these steps as a to-do list, with each step being a simple and actionable task I can complete and stay focused on. right? So we're giving it everything we need. We also, if we wanted, could give it a persona here, but let's see what we get from this and see if we need to refine it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. We'll let Airbnb do its thing, and you'll see it's already coming back. And one of the cool things that Airbnb does is actually starts to make it look like a checklist, right? So that if you wanted, you could print this and do it. The other thing that's really neat that it does is I asked it to give simple, actionable tasks. So if you were to go to someone online talking to a general audience, the general populace, or thinking more about what neurotypical people would want, the steps that they would probably give you for getting going as an Airbnb private room host would probably be prep your space, think about safety and comfort, set up your listing, get your pricing payments, the business side going, put your availability and calendar out there, and go live. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's some more down here, 7, 8 categories. What we are treating as categories, they would probably say are the steps you have to follow. Well, that's too broad for us, right? Prep your space. Our brain is going to start thinking about so many things or become so overwhelmed. Executive dysfunction is going to take hold, and we're not going to be able to come up with tangible, actionable things. So this is how ChatGPT can really help us, because it's not saying prep the space, right? If on our to-do list, we write prep the space, let's assume we power through that first executive dysfunction. We power through the fact that this seems big. We power through the fact that we may not actually know what that means. We walk into the space in our house that we're going to list. We look at it and we think prep the space. Well, let's say we actually do start doing work. What's probably going to happen is we start prepping one thing, we then go over and start working on another, and before you know it, you've got the room half prepped over here, half prepped over there, all of those kind of problems. This gives us very actionable steps. Now, always check what AI gives you, and always ask it to add things if you need to, or just add them yourself, right? All of these are usable things and helpful. You can take this and copy it right into a Google Doc sheet, Word, Notion, or whatever tool you're using to track your task list here. So let's check it out a little bit. Under prep your space, we've got pick the room you'll list. That's actionable, right? And that might be a no-brainer in your house, right? You've already got a guest bedroom. That's the room I'm going to rent out when I don't have guests. Okay, check, done. Look at that. Did you feel it? Did you feel a sense of excitement when you took your pen and checked it off, or if you did it digitally, when you clicked in the box and marked it complete? Because for most of us, most of the clients that I work with in my coaching program, they might not always feel it on the first check. By the third or fourth, they're starting to feel like, oh my goodness, I'm doing this. I'm actually doing it. And that's the level of simplicity we want to get these tasks down to, is the level of simplicity where each task doesn't feel like that much. No one achieves something big. Take any big thing that was built, the pyramids, a bridge, Statue of Liberty, any big thing near you, around you that you can relate to. It wasn't just built. There was a series of smaller steps that were done to get it to where it is. And that's exactly what we need to do for our ADHD brains, so we can stay focused, so that we have timing flexibility as our energy levels come up and down, wane and spike. We need these simple tasks that we get as many done as we can, and we need a break, and we know exactly where to go back to. Actually checking things off is helpful, because when you do get energy again and you do focus again, we don't want to waste some of that valuable time having to figure out where we are and what we need to do. We want to jump right into doing the work. So again, we just checked off pick the room you'll list. You have a guest bedroom, that's what you're going to list. Clear out personal items you don't want guests using. So you might have items, probably have items in there that having a guest that's a family member or friend come in makes sense, but doesn't make sense for a group of Airbnb people who, you don't know as well or whatever. This could be simple things like pictures of you and your family that, again, perfectly fine to leave in there. When you have people staying, those probably have to come out, unless it's just pictures of your pets. That's probably universally okay for Airbnb guests. You might have your own clothing in the closet. Probably want to remove that, or you want something to secure the closet, right? So just clear things out that you wouldn't want the guests using. Then we have deep clean, vacuum, dust, wipe surfaces. So I think you're getting the picture of what has to happen here. And if we look at this, this really is our list. This is now our plan, our project plan, our action plan to getting going. And if you look, the beauty of it is we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the 6th category, you're live. You're a real business. You're offering a real service. You're ready to collect real money. You're set up to get that money and collect payments, right? And then we've got additional steps we have to do to actually deliver the service that we've promised of letting people stay for a night or multiple nights in this private room. So this is a great, great way that AI can help you go from I have an idea to a tangible list of steps. Now, I want to use it for something else because this is the trap that I see so many ADHDers fall into. I posted a TikTok video just a few days ago that got quite a bit of interest, posing the question, is this actually a side hustle? Or is this just a hobby that you're calling a side hustle to give yourself permission to buy a bunch of toys, tools, and gizmos you always wanted? And that's why I recommend that, number one, you pick a side hustle that doesn't require a lot of surprise for your first side hustle, because it reduces the chance that we let our seeking of dopamine take over and send us down a path of spending, right? But the other reason is it's much cheaper to start. So if that side hustle doesn't work out, you didn't just drop $1,000 or $5,000. My most popular TikTok ever in the, I think like 40,000 last I checked, was about buying everything to start a side hustle, buying all the supplies, but never actually starting the side hustle. Your brain lost interest once you bought everything. That's a dopamine hit. And I had people out there talking about they'd rented space for the side hustle, for the business. Like they'd gotten that far and then their brain pieced out on them. So let's look at how AI can help and say, also it could create a printer-friendly version of this if we wanted. So I didn't mention that, but let's say this, create a list of the supplies most room hosts would need to get started with room hosting. I already have a guest bedroom I will be using that has a queen bed, a TV, a closet, and a desk, right? Let's just assume that's the case. So don't just have it give you supplies that you already have. Tell it what you already have, and we want a real list. And in this way, we're going to use AI a little bit to restrict the supplies that we're going to let ourselves buy. Now, it is important that you find ways to channel this dopamine craving and things yourself, but this is certainly helpful to make sure, one, you don't miss anything, but two, you don't go crazy. So we've got our bedding and comfort items. We've got bathroom essentials, cleaning and reset, guest comfort extras, safety basics, nice to have. Okay, now, you see like guest comfort extras, that's optional, right? Like we all know you don't need a small luggage rack. So again, my thing here is when you're getting started as an ADHD or with a side hustle, you want to invest the littlest amount possible until you start getting money in. So what you want to do with this list, and I'm going to just have ChatGPT do it for me. Can you group these items into must-have to start items and items I can buy once I have money coming in? So by doing this, we're saying, hey, here's the things I absolutely need to get started. Like I need to have a bed, I need to have sheets, I need to have towels, versus here are the things that I can upgrade as I get money. And then what you should be doing is saying to yourself, okay, when am I going to get some of these extra items? Like, what do we got here? Extra spare blankets. When am I going to get those? Well, extra spare blankets aren't that expensive. So maybe I'm going to say to myself, once I take my first $100 out of the business that I keep, the next $50 goes to some spare blankets, right? That's the type of criteria you should be putting in so you've got controlled spending. And do you know what controlled spending is for a business or a side hustle? It's called investing in your business. It's no longer you going out and just willy-nilly spending things. When you buy those extra spare blankets because you've hit the threshold that you said is appropriate, you're not just spending money. You're not just buying blankets. You're investing in your business. And this is not tax or legal advice, but for me, and when I do my accounting, that ends up being recorded as an expense on my Airbnb. And that is something that traditionally, for my tax situation, my accountant has always been able to write off for me. So just something to keep in mind. I hope this video has been helpful. Again, please let me know in the comments if it has. If it hasn't, what else would be helpful? What are some other problems you're having? Also, if you haven't already, please like this video so it can broadcast out to others. And please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next. It's going to be at least one more, maybe two more videos in this series of how to use AI to get your ADHD-friendly side hustle up, running, and get you to stick with it.